what could be valuable on member coaching if you want to take a little bit of time to get some of your metrics together is we can look at the metrics of how many people are seeing your webinar, how many of those are booking appointments, how many of those appointments are turning into clients, and then we can look at where do you need to tweak.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I have several issues that I need to like address, because one of them is people will book but then never turn in the homework.
Yeah.
And I had thought maybe I need to record a video that I could send out at the same time that I'm sending out the packages for them to understand how important the homework is. Because
so let me pause you there. These are people who are booking from your webinar, right?
Not directly from the webinar. Everybody who books actually speaks with the client services director.
Okay, so then your client services director is not properly preparing people for the family wealth planning session.
Okay.
Because if your client services director is properly preparing people for the family wealth planning session, then they turn in their homework. And so your client services director needs additional training. So we just created a client services director training handbook that I think, could be very important for your client services director to go through. Of course, all the intake resources that we have as well, because your client services director is the person responsible for making sure that people come into that family wealth planning session prepared. And so if you have a significant number of people who are booking family wealth planning sessions and then not coming in prepared, then that is a client services director, hey, what's happening issue.
Okay.
And so are you meeting regularly with your client services director on a weekly basis to review metrics and goals and what support your client services director needs in order to be able to hit the metrics?
Well, I want to say yes, but as you put it that way, I'm thinking that the answer may not be yes, it should be.
I love that you want to say yes. Well, here's the great part. Here's the great part is that all you need to do to be able to say yes next time is schedule a weekly meeting every Monday with your client services director. And on that meeting every Monday, you say, hey, client services director, 100% of people who come in and meet with me for a family wealth planning session need to be prepared for the family wealth planning session with having turned in their homework ahead of time. So that's your responsibility. And if they're not coming in prepared, there's something that you need to be doing differently in how you are getting them booked for the family wealth planning session and how you are preparing them for the family wealth planning session. So go over with me what exactly is happening when you are booking that family wealth planning session. Do they understand that the price of admission and why they're getting it at no charge is because they're going to do the homework? And do they understand the benefit of the homework? And do they understand, are you calling them as soon as you send the homework to make sure they got it and to see if they have any questions? And are you following up with them at least twice to see if they need any help? And then if not, you find out why those things aren't happening.
Okay. That's actually some good concrete steps that I could take that would probably improve that. I have actually been letting it go because I thought it was better to have the meetings and get to know the people and get some practice. But I also think if they don't have that homework done, the chance of that meeting succeeding is just about zero.
Yeah, they're just not properly prepared. And so we do have a series of videos as well, by the way, that you can send out between the time of the booking and the time of the appointment. So we do have a series of videos. We also do have a series of emails and a series of tasks for your client services director. So let's make sure that you have access to those.